it is Sunday night. And you know what that means. It is the return of the Sunday Night League. And it is a live broadcast of GTE. Believe it or not, we are at season number 9. We've had 9 seasons. This is our 9th season. We are at Dragon Trail Seaside. But we're going the wrong way round. We're going in reverse, and it is proving to be quite a tricky combination. You can see we are in Group 3 cars once again here in GTE. And we'll go through some of the drivers. A lot of change has happened since season number 8 finished. Unfortunately, a few drivers were unable to return. The defending champion is a team boss. We'll explain that further on. So let's see who we have on this grid. And to start off with, we have Jaguar Racing by Pizza. And that is Gazman returning as a team boss into GTE. He has got the Jaguar. And you can see Bunnies right now driving that red car. He is in that team along with Slenderfella. Let's see if I can find Slenderfella. He's in the pits right now, so I can't put Slenderfella on the screen. And also brand new driver Blood Raven, who is another Canadian. There he is with the yellow decals all over his pizza car. We're going to have a lot of fun saying that. Thank you very much, Gazman, for picking that sponsor, Pizza, in the Jaguar. Now, Gazman, is a returning champion in terms of the team's championship. Also, a returning champion is Chris Boo with Team Shadow Realm, and they have a very, very bright pink and purple livery. Here is Rob on drums driving it, showing us the number 42 returning to SNL. Once again, the most consistent participant in GTE that there has ever been is Rob on drums, barely missing a race. He is joined by a familiar name from Formula X. He took two races in Formula X about a year and a half ago, JJ Trim, and he's here in GTE making his debut with the number 44. This team is incredibly strong. Chris Boo knows what he's doing in that driver market because he has also got race winner Specmere. You'll notice that there's only 2 race winners in GTE this season. Matt Psycho is one, Specmere is the other. Hopefully we can add to the tally of race winners this season. Now, Victory Rain won the championship last season, and he is a team boss, and he has decided to bring in the Raven Senka Lamborghini team, and Matt Psycho is his lead driver. Highest bids in the team boss biddings at the auction. He's driving that Lamborghini, and he's got Pool Shark, who I believe wasn't joining us for this race, but he's managed to get here. There he is, Pool Shark. And making his GTE debut as well is Craig O.B., who we saw in Formula X last season as well for Williams. So Craig O.B. also making his GTE debut. There are 3 drivers making their GTE debuts this season. Next is the orange Aston Martin OC team. Let's see who we can pop there. Is Aloe driving for that team. A great season last season. All out for Aloe, putting it on the podium against some very stiff competition. He's now a lead driver in GTE, and he leads this orange Aston Martin team. This is Mrs. Jam's team, so obviously I would like to beat her, but I'll be absolutely impartial. There is another debutant in GTE. Ragemus Prime, who's not out on track right now, is making his debut in the Aston Martin team. And the Punisher, the team boss from last season, he returns as a driver. He won the championship with Renault, with his drivers of Pool Shark, Specmere and Victory Rain. He's now driving once again in GTE. The final team is Salt Rock Hyundai, and they have another debutant. I said there were 3, there are 4 debutants Kaisergrim is driving for SNL Jam and the Salt Rock Hyundai team. We also have Ajax driving too. So Ajax currently at the top of this field right now, just behind his brother, in fact. And we're just waiting on Yokas, who has got 5 more minutes to make it to the lobby. Now, this season, 6 rounds. This season in GTE, a very, very competitive calendar, in fact. We've got a couple of reverse races to start the season, which is very unusual for SNL. So we're here at Dragon Trail for the first race of the season. It is the reverse. And then we're at Sardinia A, which is the reverse. That Victory Reign's choice from the champion last season. He gets to choose a track for the following season. In round 3, we go to Barcelona with no chicane. In round 4, we have Road Atlanta, which is the Punisher's choice as team boss. Last season, he gets to pick as well. Victory Reign in the chat saying it feels weird not to be behind the wheel for this season. Let's go, Raven Seiko Lamborghini, as his driver actually pops it onto the top of the standings right now. It is very strange, Victory Reign. I was looking forward to seeing the number 1 plate on the side of the car. We don't often see it in Formula X or GTE, really. I mean, Bunnies is the only driver that's really driven with number 1 consistently in any format. Round number 5 is Blue Moon Bay, and he has got Blue Moon Bay, which is returning to Formula GTE for the first time in a long time. We've never been there in GTE. Back in SNL, it's a lovely circuit, in my opinion. And finally, well, it wouldn't be an SNL series without finishing in Japan. And we're at Suzuka, which hasn't been on the calendar, actually, for 2 years in GTE. Season number 2 for GTE was the last time we went to Suzuka. So a lot of rotation with everything. So let's hope for a competitive season. Some of you might be looking at the man here on the screen thinking he's the favourite based on previous success. A 2-time champion. Will he become the first 3-time champion? Unfortunately, Speed Hunter unable to join us this season as well as Victory Reign. So we have only one of our 2-time champions on the grid this season. In fact, Matt Psycho and, as previously mentioned, Spectre are the only winners as well in GTE this season on the grid. Now, qualifying is a 10-minute session this time round. You will be familiar with that. However, next week we have a brand new session, 20 minutes for the drivers. The bottom 5 in the championship will go out for the first 5 minutes. Then they will be joined by the next 5 in the championship for 10 minutes. And then at the 10-minute mark, everybody goes out on track for the last 10 minutes of the session. It's designed really to give those lower down in the championship maybe a bit more track time, a bit more chance to get acclimatized to the circuit. So we'll hope for some interesting and different results based on that. Now the tyres, same situation as we've had before. 2 compounds picked by the team bosses. They have 4 races in which to use the compounds. And Jaguar Racing by Pizza for Gazman have got softs and hards. So those red Jaguars have softs and hards. Team Shadow Realm, Chris Boo has picked medium and hards for his team. Raven Senka Lamborghini, well, it's Victory Reign, has picked soft and hards for his team. Orange Aston Martin OC have gone for the softs and mediums. And finally, Salt Rock Hyundai have also gone for those softs and mediums. So we're about 2 minutes away from qualifying. 1 minute, in fact. Yokas has not arrived as of yet, so he will miss the session as he hasn't got onto the game yet. So we'll just see if everybody is ready. Drivers ready on the grid. 10-minute session is coming up for them. They do not have to use the same tyre they start the race on either, which is always a benefit for some drivers. They like to mix it up depending on where they qualify. So let's wish everyone good luck. Where it is? There it is. Let's start the qualifying. Oh. Literally, Yokas, I think, has just arrived. Yokas, I think... Oh, he's gone. Well, Yokas, I did say 10 past 8, so... Yeah, there we go. We'll start at the back of the grid for this one. So let's get all the data up on the screen. It's always nice being out for this session. So somebody is going out first. Who is that? Bunnies isn't going anywhere. He's got hard tyres on. So who is our first driver on the circuit? It is one of... I think it's a Lowy. There he is. So let's go on board with a Lowy. A bit of vibration there through turn number 1. But we are going now reverse circuit here at Dragon Trail Seaside. There is turn number 2, and then we've got turn number 3 and 4. The Death Chicane, as it is known. In reverse, it seems to be even more tricky. 5 and 6, and then a very, very tricky turn 6. Seems to be the wide entry type apex, and then out for a Lowy. Then we go up the hill towards the S's section, which is 8, 9, 10, 11. Very fast section in the reverse. We're going downhill now. Yoka seems to be having problems getting into the room. So we've got the left and the right. Really wants to sweep out into the grass. A lot of drivers have said this circuit is not designed to be driven the wrong way round. Down into turn 12, the hairpin normally is an opportunity to overtake. Then we have the kink, that is turn 13. There's a small corner here, turn 14, and then we've got a very tricky S chicane at the end of the lap, turns 15 and 16. Before we then finish, we can see the orange Aston Martin now following. Let's see if we can get all the cars on the screen. So Ajax there in the Salt Rock Hyundai. Matt Psycho is in the Raven Senka Lamborghini. Lod Raven is in his Jaguar Racing Bike Pizza Pizza. And then finally, can I find one of these very brightly coloured? Yes, we can. The Toyota Supra. Chris Boo's team in the Team Shadow Realm Racing. Yoka still having issues trying to get in the room. Back then to the front of the qualifying session. Aloy is there in first on the road. He's on the soft tyres, but he's quickly being chased down, it looks like, by Ajax. So Ajax has shown lots of promise in SNL. He won in Formula X last time in the season. He hasn't had a podium though in GTE, but he'll be hoping for one this evening, pushing that Hyundai hard, following Aloy through the S's. That Psycho though has the record for pole positions of this grid. Random fact as well, there he is. Rob on drums has also got a pole position, so it's had a bit of damage though. Out of the hairpin. Maybe the Death Chicane's already claimed one victim in the qualifying session. You see how tight the second part of the chicanes are from that camera view with Aloy. It's giving a nice tow though to Ajax behind on board with the Hyundai as they come across the line. What are the scores going to be on the doors? Aloy sets the fastest time, but he is immediately beaten by Ajax by nearly a second. That Psycho is a 10th behind. So Aloy drops to third. The Punisher is fourth. It's quite a big gap between a lot of these drivers as it stands. Right now we've got drivers coming up. Kaiser Grim puts himself up into 5th place. JJ Trim puts himself up into 6th. He's currently on the medium tyres. Those Supras are on mediums. They're going for a race strategy. Rob on drums goes up into 9th place in his Supra, and he's ahead of Speckmere in 11th. Craig O.B. has put his car up into 5th place, the Lamborghini suiting him maybe a little bit more than those Formula X cars that we saw him in previously. Poolshark has put himself up into 12th place. He's had a few little offs, it would seem. Slender Fella has moved up the grid. Where is he? He's put himself up into 3rd in that Jaguar. So Slender Fella, he's had 2 seasons in GTE. We've not seen the heights of his Formula X seasons for the Brits. However, at the front of the grid, it is Ajax in the Hyundai, pushing it hard. The Salt Rock team were the last team to pick their car as well. We saw that last season, though. That is not a disadvantage. It was the Punisher who picked 4th out of the 5 teams last season, got the Renault, and they won the championship. Matt Psycho, though, puts it on pole. A 39.0 for the Brit. 2-time champion putting the gauntlet down. He's got Ajax right where he wants him. Slender Fella is in 3rd, and Lowy is beaten, though, by Bunnies, who's Speckmere very fast. Remember, Speckmere is on those medium tyres. 5th place as it stands. Right now, Kaiser Grim is into 7th in his Hyundai. He's just ahead of the Punisher, who's just ahead of Craig O.B., who's very close to Blood Raven as well. So very, very, very tight. JJ Trim is down in 12th in his Supra. But at the front, it's a familiar name in GTE. It is Matt Psycho. He's got a car in front of him. Is that Kaiser Grim? It looks like there's some yellow on that Hyundai. So Matt Psycho backing off slightly, possibly. We've got 3.5 minutes left of the session. Ragimus has put himself into 13th place in his Aston Martin. First time we've seen Ragimus in GTE as well. So currently just getting up to speed with everything. Bloodhaven has had an accident. Lots of damage, it would seem, on his car. Tries to keep out of the way of everyone. The Canadian. A plethora of Canadians, really, in this championship this season, as drivers are coming in for new soft tyres as well. So you'll see the advantage of those drivers that run the longer sessions in the qualifying. They'll burn through their fuel as well. So it's going to be interesting in round 2 what happens with the qualifying session. But right now it is everyone out on track for 10 minutes. Who's the fastest? Oh, Slender Fella sliding the car. JJ Trim improves his time. Where does he go? He just stays in 12th. He's closer now to Rob on drums, though. Craig O.B. has put himself up into 8th place now. He's just ahead of the Punisher. It's incredibly tight in places. But Matt Psycho's got 0.8 of a second over the field, ahead of Ajax. Slender Fella off to complete his lap, but we saw him have a massive slide during his run. Now lap for Bunnies. He's trying to warm the tyres up. Speckmere is just still running on those mediums. Ragimus puts himself into 8th place now in his orange Aston Martin OC car. So he is up there now in 8th. Just ahead of the Punisher and just behind Lowy, who is in 6th. The session. First time these drivers have all been on track at the same time. The first opportunity for them to put themselves against the competitors. Yokas is still leaving the room. Does not want him to join for some reason. So disconnection points look to be on the cards for Yokas, which is a shame. For the Polish driver, we have got 7 Brits in this field. So we've got 8 from outside the UK, 4 of which are Canadians. Will be becoming a Canadian league. Right now, JJ Trim improves his time. Where does he go? He's 13th still. He's getting closer and closer to Rob on drums. Trying to get these medium tyres on his Supra. To help him, Chris Boo will be watching this somewhere in the world. Who knows where Chris Boo is this weekend? He'll probably pop up in the chat at some point. So JJ Trim in 13th as it stands. Matt Psycho is still on pole, but he's attacking those curbs through the chicane of death. He's a 10th up on his best. What does Ajax do? He's just behind the man currently on pole position. Can he improve? Not quite. And Yokas has left the session again. Slender Fella. He's on softs. They're quite worn out now. And it's his final lap. Can he improve? Pullshark does improve his time. Where does that put him on the grid? 2 tenths down. Let's see. Pullshark has gone into... He's 14th still. So he's not had the best of sessions. He won't be happy with that. He's better than that, in fact. We've seen that before. It's a tight grid for competitiveness. Although he's just put himself on his final run up into 3rd in his Aston Martin. Yokas saying he can't get in the room. I don't know why, Yokas. I must admit, I don't know why. Matt Psycho is saying what he can do. So Yokas will get disconnection points. For some reason, the room is not letting him in. Saying he keeps disconnecting. Matt Psycho does not improve his time. And what can Ajax do? The Hyundai driver does not improve. He's off there. Slender Fella towards the end. Bunnies improves his time, but not the position. He loses out to Aloe at the end of this session. Slender Fella, his teammate in the Pizza car, he stays in 5th. Speckmere is in 6th. It will be 7th for Kaiser Grim. Unless Ragemus improves. He does improve, but not quite. 3 thousandths of a second between the drivers. What a gap. It's incredibly tight. Look, Craig OB is 2 tenths off, and 500ths of a second off is Punisher, who is only 800ths off Blood Raven. I think that's meant to be Blood Raven. I'll call you Blood Raven, because it's easier to say. JJ Trim was unable to get past his teammate in the end. So he is 13th. Rob on drums is 12th. And Pullshark will be in 14th place. But do not discount anybody in this race. Mama Sykes in the chat. Hello, Mama Sykes. It's great, Matt, is her message. So that is the end of the qualifying session. Matt Psycho 7.97, so 8 tenths of a second up on his rivals. But that's qualifying. Let's have a look at the session. So Matt Psycho, a 39.092 for him. Ajax is on the front row as well. The Lamborghini versus the Hyundai. Only in GTE can you get that combination. Then we have the British cars of the Aston Martin and the Jaguar of Aloe and Bunnies. Very tightly matched, actually. In fact, less than a tenth between them. 3 tenths of a second down on them was Slender Fella, so he could join the party very quickly. Speckmere is the top medium runner in 6th place in his Toyota Supra. Kaiser Grim is in 7th place in his Hyundai, just 3 tenths behind Speckmere, and only 3 thousandths of a second ahead of Regimus Prime. So Regimus Prime making the top 8. Craig OB is in 9th in his Lamborghini with the Punisher, completing the top 10 in the Aston Martin. In 11th is Blood Raven in the Jaguar, with 12th place Rob on drums on the mediums, and JJ Trim also on those mediums in the Supra. Chris Boo will be looking at the race thinking, this is okay. Our race strategy is in place. Pullshark is 14th, and unfortunately Yokas has had some connection problems, so he will not make the race, but will get connection points. So that is our grid. That is our top 8. let's get ready then for the race. Let's see if everyone is ready to start. So, standing start as always in GTE. Mama Sykes is in the chat saying, "Hi Jam, hope you are well." You know me, Mama Sykes, I'm always well. Always well. I'm always here on a Sunday night, entertaining you and everybody else. We are here live for the next 6 weeks, so join us live. If you can't make it, then watch the replay. Put a comment, tell us who you're supporting as well. It's always interesting to hear those. So I will wish everybody good luck, and we'll get this 38 lap race of Track and Trail Seaside completed. Mama Psyche, you always ask, is this a real circuit? It is not a real circuit. So let's get this race underway. Victory Rain in the chat saying, let's go, Matt. Big thumbs up from his new boss. Interesting being a team boss for the first time as well, Victory Rain. I'm sure he has quite a bit of input in the team. So there is our top 8. Matt Psycho on pole ahead of Ajax. Eloy 3rd, Bunny's 4th, Slenderfella 5th, Specmere 6th, Kaiser Grim in 7th, and Ragemus Prime is in 8th. Season number 9 of GTE is ready to go. When the 5 lights go out, they will be go here in GTE. Let's see which cars are the best starters. It looks like a great start from the Jaguars. Bunnies is positioning himself, but Matt Psycho holding that inside line. In fact, Ajax ahead of him, going round the outside, and that Hyundai has managed to get past Matt Psycho, but Matt Psycho's on the hard tyres. That's possibly why. Bunnies is up into second, so the 2 Canadians first and second as they go towards the depth chicane for the first time as they attack. Does everybody survive? It looked like Ajax possibly scraped the wall. He did. That Psycho's under pressure as well, but it's Ajax under pressure from his brother. Bunnies looking for the outside line. Tries the cutback. He's got no damage, and he puts it on the outside. Let's go through the field. The Aston Martin's racing hard. Ragerous and the Punishers. Punishers had a good start. Specmere down to 9th. Craig O.B. in 10th. And 11th is Rob on drums, but Ajax has managed to keep the lead, and Kaiser Grim has just put it up the inside of Eloy. Fantastic move there by him. Eloy on the medium tyres at the start of the race. He's falling down though because he's lost to Slenderfella too. So Slenderfella running wide though. Eloy back up the inside, and that means that Ragemus also gets past. Great racing already here in SNL. For the opening lap of season number 9 of this GTE Championship. It's the front of the field that we can see Ajax leading. The Punisher has a bit of a gap actually, 4 seconds between him and Specmere, so something's happened here with the drivers. Rob on drums is in 10th, Craig O.B. is 11th, Jay Trim is in 12th. As we go at the front, the Aston Martins are fighting with a Slenderfella, a Jaguar. They're all ganging up on him. They'll be thinking, well, this is all very, very, very tight. We'll go on board with Specmere in the Supra. The Toyota driver having a cheeky look, does he? Does he have a cheeky look? Not quite. As they go through the depth chicane side by side nearly. Very brave as the Jaguar. Wow! Slenderfella just took the opportunity there and dived on Specmere. What is this? Slenderfella all of a sudden deciding, hold on, I'm going to deploy the nitro on that Jaguar. Obviously there is no nitro in it, but my word, what a couple of overtakes. Kaiser Grim has put himself up into 3rd place in the Hyundai. Matt Psycho on the hard tyres. He is suffering right now. He's got Ragemus just behind him on board with the Aston Martin. So what can they do coming through the end of the lap? The tight chicane negotiated. Matt Psycho though feels that Aston Martin all over the back of him. They go to the chicane. You can see just at the front Ajax has a little bit of a gap over Bunnies. It is just under a second between the 2 race leaders Is Matt Psycho popping into the pits, I wonder? No, he's pulled to the left to try and get the inside line going into turn 1, but no, down to 5th place goes Matt Psycho. Ragemus Prime goes up into 4th, so he's got himself up from 8th to 4th in these early laps. Let's have a look at the tyres situation. So right now, Ajax is on the softs. He's followed by Bunnies, also on the soft tyres. Oh, Bunnies has hit the wall. Just as I was typing in my chart, Bunnies has hit the wall at the depth chicane. That's meant Ragemus has been balked a little bit. It's a Hyundai 1-2. Kaiser Grim, I shouldn't say that so loudly, but Kaiser Grim is in second as we see drivers all queuing up with Matt Psycho ahead. Slenderfella, we saw him on the last lap. He did 2 overtakes, shortly followed by each other. He's now pushing Matt Psycho. Ahead, you can see Ragemus and Bunnies also having a fight. So Slenderfella, we've seen some aggressive moves by him. They're all bunching up nicely. In this early stages of the race, Slenderfella up the inside. No, not quite, because he's under attack by Speckmere, who was ahead. Mama Sykes in the chat saying, great racing. Yes, it is, as always. Slenderfella up ahead of us. Behind us is Aloe in the TV screen. But we've got 4 drivers closely matched. We've got Bunnies under pressure from Ragemus. Let's go on board with the Aston Martin. So we've got 2 Hyundais at the front. We've got Jaguar in 3rd. In 4th place is the Aston Martin. 5th is Lamborghini. It's Kaiser Grim. Very unusual line actually going into turn 1. Looked like he made a small error. In fact, Kaiser Grim is under pressure. I will go through the tyres, but right now there's so much happening that if I go and do it, it is going to miss something. Speckmere is on the medium tyres. He's under pressure. They're going through the depth chicane once more. Slenderfella keeping himself in sight. Those soft tyres, though, will start to wear, I'm sure. Aloe also racing hard, but he's only on the medium tyres right now for the Aston Martin team, so he's got an advantage possibly of those that he's racing with later in the race. In 9th place is the Punisher, also on the mediums. JJ Trim has managed to put himself into 10th place and has medium tyres, pulling away from Craig OB, who's also on hards. This looks tactical from the Lamborghini crew. Rob on drums also on hards, so Rob on drums always one of those drivers you have to watch because he will do something slightly different to everyone else. Blood Raven has had a little bit of an off. He's got soft tyres though, fighting hard. Bunnies though in 2nd place because Kaiser Grim has lost a couple of places, down to 4th place. Been overtaken by Ragemus in 3rd. These 2 making their debut in GTE, fighting hard for the podium. Already this season is looking great. Some great racing, as Mama Sykes has already said in the chat. It's all very tight. Let's go on board with Kaiser Grim. We've got the Aston Martin with Ragemus Prime in front of us, going through the depth chicane for the 5th time. A little bit of a scrape by Ragemus, possibly ahead of us. Doesn't hold him up though. Speckmere is in 5th. Matt Psycho down in 7th now. Goes the former champion. Those hard tyres. Oh, he's running wide. Does that mean Aloe gets the run on him? Going up the hill, it does. The Aston Martin goes up into 7th place. So Matt Psycho dropping down to 8th in the Lamborghini. Ragemus has got Bunnies. Ragemus is on a move now. Currently the fastest lap of the race is Ajax with a 140.6, but in the background you can see Kaiser Grim having a look at Bunnies. These 4 fighting. They're fighting each other. That's helping Ajax pull away. Go on board with Bunnies in the mirror at the top right of your screen. You can see Kaiser Grim in the background, the Swede pushing hard. We've never had a Swedish driver on the podium in SNL. Kaisergrim is trying to be the first driver to do that. Ajax, though, leading in his Hyundai, whilst his teammate is putting the pressure on his brother Bunnies. So let's have a rundown. After 5 laps of racing, Ajax leads by 6 seconds ahead of Ragemus, who's got a bunny all over the back of him. Can Bunnies, who's got Kaisergrim all over the back of him. They go through the death chicane. How on earth did they manage to get through that alive? Wow, I think Kaisergrim actually decided, you know what, I better just survive this. He's backed off a little bit. In the background you can see Slender Fella, who's got Spekmir all over the back of him in that Supra. So Supra Spekmir is on mediums and hards for this race, so he's got the hardest options of any driver in this top 8 right now. Aloe is in 7th with Matt Psycho in 8th. He's on the hard tyres, top hard runner right now. The Punisher, a little bit of a gap, 4 seconds from Matt Psycho, but he is closing up all the time in his Aston Martin. He's got the medium tyres. Then we have JJ Trim in his first GTE race in 10th place, pushing hard. Craig OB, also in his first GTE race, is in 11th in his Lamborghini. In 12th, another hard runner, Rob on drums in the Supra. Bloodraven in the Jaguar is in 13th place, setting a 1 second better than his best time, actually. So he's on course, actually, to be not far off Ajax. So that pace is there. It's possibly just a little bit of mistakes. Pool Shark on the hard tyres in the Lamborghini, not having a nice time right now. Let's go back to the front of the field, though. Ajax is losing time between this fighting field. Bunny's now back up into 2nd. Kaiser is into 3rd, having overtaken Ragemus as they go towards the death chicane. Will they back out of it? Spekmir, all of a sudden as well, is putting himself into contention. He's moving further and further forward as the soft tyres of those he's racing with start to wear off. This is the new dynamic here in GTE. New tyre setup. Oh, as we see Ragemus running wide, trying to join back onto the circuit, onto the curb. Goes Ragemus. Spekmir now up into 4th. He is the man on a mission, pushing hard. Can he get past Ragemus? No, Ragemus holds the position. You can see the tyre wear difference between them. In fact, they go through the S's down the hill towards this turn number 12 hairpin. Look who's there again. Slender Fella. Oh, they go 3 wide into the hairpin. Slender Fella puts himself up into position, but he doesn't get past. Excellent racing here in SNL. Brilliant on-track action, as always, from all these drivers, respecting each other as well, giving each other space, not bashing into each other, and it's fantastic. Look at this. The top 8 are covered by 10 seconds on lap number 7. It's Ajax pulling away, so really 2nd to 8th are covered by about 4 seconds. You can see them on the track map in the top right corner. Here it is. Here they all are. So Bunny's actually is pulling away a little bit, so is Kaiser, but then we have Spekmir in 4th, Ragemus in 5th, Slenderfella 6th, Aloe in 7th, Matt Psycho in 8th. Punisher is catching them up as well, and he's bringing JJ Trim along with him on the ride. Let's go on board with JJ going through the death chicane for the 8th time. Nicely done by JJ, but at the front of the field it is Ajax, but he's losing time to his brother. 40.9 on the last lap for him, 40.9 as well, but it was a 44.5 on the previous lap, lap number 6. Really slow. 44.1 in fact for Bunnies. All really slow on lap number 6 for some reason. So all the drivers struggling on lap number 6. Ajax leads the field in the Hyundai. All the Korean sponsors on that car looking very happy in the grandstand, I'm sure. one Cornish sponsor as well, the title sponsor, Salt Rock. So Ajax crossing the line. What does he do? Oh, 142.4. Oh, in the background though, Speckmere is putting himself up into third place. There he goes. Chris Boo will be looking this and thinking, hold on a second. This is why we went mediums. These medium tyres look incredibly good in this race conditions. Speckmere up into third. He did a 40.7. Driver ahead of him, Bunnies, did his best lap of 40.8. That's a tenth slower. And a 41.2. So Speckmere taking 4 tenths out of the race leader and starting to get a move on. Slenderfella also bringing himself to the front of this pack as well. Slenderfella in 5th, putting the pressure on Kaiser. Can he get the exit out of the hairpin? Up the hill, not quite. The Hyundai managing to pull away. Look at all these cars just lined up with each other. It's Kaiser Grim and Slenderfella, then Ragemus Prime, Aloe following his orange Aston Martin teammate. That Psycho also keeping them in sight. Kaiser Grim's got all the attention of the Jaguar racing by Pizza car. Oh, Slenderfella managed. Oh no, Kaiser Grim has just touched the curb. Oh no, Kaiser Grim down to 9th place, at least 10th, most likely. Oh, Kaiser Grim's hard work after 9 laps, dropping him down to 10th with just running up the curve ever so slightly too high. That's an unfortunate event. Ajax is still losing time though to Bunnies. Bunnies is lapping quicker. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, a 140.4. This is a great sense. It's interesting to see how this new tyre dynamic works with these Group 3 cars. They're setting faster laps later on in the session when the fuel starts to burn off. So those orange Aston Martins, the 3 of them in the top 8. So Jam will be happy. Ragemus is in 5th with Aloe in 6th. Aloe attacking that a lot more and gains about 4 tenths of a second, maybe 5 compared to his teammate. He might have a go into the hairpin. Yes, he does. He dives up the inside of Ragemus. That shows you what a difference an attacking mode through the depth chicane can do. Aloe managed to put himself into a position where he just had so much more momentum than his teammate, gained 8 tenths of a second, overtook him. That is where the time can be massively made up. Matt Psycho in 7th place. The Punisher now 8th. JJ Trim is 9th, so somebody has dropped off. That must be... Yes, Kaiser Grim has decided to stop and he's put the medium tyres on. So Kaiser Grim has put those medium tyres on. So quite happily going with those. Craig OB is on those hards. As we've seen before, Ragemus is on softs as they start to wear out. So he's with his teammates as into the pits comes Bunnies. So one of the top drivers in on lap number 10. And so is Slenderfella. So lap number 10 for them. The Bunnies is in. Aloe is up to 3rd place then. So the Jaguars in on lap 10. That must be a pre-planned pit stop for them because they're both teammates. They're both in the pits. What does... Bloodraven up into 8th now with all the pit stops. So 3 pit stops have happened. Bloodraven still going another lap compared to his teammates. Ajax is in 11th. Sorry, lap 11 in 1st place. Down the hill towards the hairpin at the end of the lap. Speckmere up into second, and the fastest lap on lap number 10 went to Speckmere, 140.2. Those medium tyres look fantastic on this car. Are the medium tyres the tyre to be on here in GTE? They have become a very strong race tyre, I think. Trying to make the soft tyres work in the race means that the mediums become very, very long-lasting. And he's not far off his fastest lap either. Very consistent is Speckmere. Aloe is in the pits. Ragemus comes in then on lap number 11. And so is the Punisher and JJ Trim as well. So they're all coming in around about the same times. In comes the orange Aston Martin. Matt Psycho moves himself up into 4th place now with those hard tyres. No web at all on them. So he's 14.7 seconds off Ajax. He just scrapes the wall on the exit. Craig O.B. and Rob on drums, also on their hard tyres, make the top 6 now as other drivers are pitting. What does Bunnies have in answer? Bunnies 50 seconds off his fellow Canadian. He's managed to pull a bit of a gap though from the slender fella as those drivers come out of the pits. Have they fully fueled? Not quite, it looks, from their tanks. No, they haven't fully fueled. Ragemus comes out. He has fully fueled. This time he's ahead of JJ Trim, who has also fully fueled. Gap 41.7 compared to 40.2, 1.5 seconds quicker is Speckmere. His fuel light is flashing. He'll go another lap. He's putting the pressure on though, Ajax. It's great to see this. These medium tyres then bring their pace on. The softs make you go away, but then you fall back in the clutches of the medium runners. Lowy there in 3rd. He'll be stopping this lap for sure. There's no way he can go another lap in his fuel. He's got very low amounts of fuel, in fact, compared to Matt Psycho. Matt Psycho possibly catching him up. No, still falling back a little bit. There we go, B. Crossing the line. In 5th. And he's got Rob on drums just behind him. Rob on drums also starting to flash with fuel. Gap 49.8 for Bunnies. Fresher tyres, he's back on the softs. Same for Slenderfella, also in the Jaguar. Punisher did not change his tyres. Stays on those mediums. He's got Ragemus on a new set of soft tyres for him. So he's driving hard. JJ Trim also brand new set of mediums for the Super Driver. Kaisergrim on the mediums. Bull Shark in 13th, still on those hard tyres. Bloodhaven has been in the pits too. Bloodhaven in 14th. The race leader is in. So is the driver in 2nd place, but the gap between them, Speckmere will jump him if he does not change tyres, which I suspect he won't. Aloe into the pits too. Matt Psycho keeps going. Matt Psycho will retake the lead then, the man on pole, and just sets his fastest lap of the race at 41.5 on the hards. The lower fuel helping him along. Let's have a look then. The fuel rates on Ajax and Speckmere are very similar, but I'm sure that we'll see them. Well, if they have to put the same amount of fuel in, they're going to come out exactly side by side. Let's see who does. So they've both got 100. Oh my word, look at that gap. So Ajax, the gap with... Oh, they've both been jumped by Bunnies. Bunnies has put himself up ahead of Ajax and ahead of Speckmere. So Bunnies has managed to jump them with the earlier pit stop. The undercut working for him. Ajax in 4th and Speckmere very, very tightly behind. He's got on board with the Supra. He did not change those medium tyres, so he knows those tyres. It might take a little bit more time to heat up, but he knows what they're like. Ajax is on a fresh set of softs, and Bunny's also on a fresh set. They've got Craig OB currently in 2nd in the Lamborghini, putting his fuel high in the reserves. That Psycho 30 seconds ahead of him, coming out of the chicane for the final time. He will be stopping this lap. I'm sure he'll be putting soft tyres on, and then we'll have a huge race on between everybody. Bunnies, Ajax, Speckmere, they seem to be the ones fighting for this victory. As it stands, Slenderfella just a little bit behind, but he's definitely got the pace to make something of it. The Punisher is in 7th with Ragemus just behind him. These two Aston Martins fighting each other, 24 and 23. Couldn't be closer in the number order. Just wants to do a little bit of a swap, a little bit of a touch between the two teammates. An apology possibly there by Ragemus on his teammate, the Punisher. The Punisher thinking, oh, we'll play like that then. I hope Aloe there in 9th place as well. Matt Psycho falling down the field as he fills up with fuel. Going to fall behind Slenderfellow, it would seem, as well. And Ragemus most likely, yes, he does. So Ragemus is there in 6th. So we see in the background one of the Aston Martins seemed to be pitting, but I don't think they did. No, it was Aloe just getting past the Punisher. It's just a swap of positions. So the Punisher down to 8th place. JJ Trim in 9th. Kaiser in 10th. Ran very highly early on. Just had a fight with one of the curbs. Bloodraven is 11th. Craig OB coming out onto the track in 12th. Rob on drums though. Is he going to drive around the outside? Trying to. Gets a little bit on the marbles and does not make the move. Craig OB though has not changed tyres. He's still on the hards. That's an interesting decision for him. Paul Shark in the pits too. What's Psycho done? He's on the softs. So, interesting decision from one of his teammates. But Bunny's leading the race, currently fastest lap as well, a 39.8. Bunnies has never won a race in GTE. Neither has Ajax. The only driver in this top 3 that has is Speckmere, and he's looking very strong on these mediums. Don't worry if he's falling back right now, because those mediums will come back into the race proper as the soft tyres start to wear out. A 40.3 for Ajax on the last lap. He's keeping the pressure on the driver ahead of him. Took a 10th out on the previous lap. Ragemus is currently 5th, 40.8 for him. So he's setting some great times in that Aston Martin too. But he's got Matt Psycho behind him. Mama Sykes in the chat just now saying, okay Matthew, foot down. He's got 16 seconds to make up on Bunnies. And he's got 22 laps to do that in. It's possible, but it's going to be very, very, very tight. Matt Psycho pushing as hard as he can. Aloe is in 7th with his Aston Martin. The Punisher also in his Aston Martin. So joined by a moth in the room. Deciding to come in. JJ Trim putting himself into the top 10 more comfortably. Deciding 41.2 is his fastest lap on the mediums. Again, showing good pace. Very similar to Speckmere. So Chris Blue, that decision, medium and hards for this race by his Shadow Realm team. Team Shadow Realm, as I should call them. Looking quite the strategy. 40.9 compared to 40.2, so he's not losing too much time right now, but it's Ajax that's pulling in slightly, maybe. Though he was a couple of tenths slower than Bunnies on the previous lap. So through the Death Chicane. Drivers now starting to feel like they own that part of the circuit, but don't get too comfortable because it will bite you. As we saw early on, Bunnies did hit the wall through there. Any small error is punished highly through that fast section. Slender fella in fourth in his Jaguar. So right now, Gatsman looking at this, team boss once more. He's got two drivers in the top four. Very happy with what he sees. Ragemus in fifth, Matt Psycho just behind him. 40.3 for Ragemus and a 40.4 for Matt Psycho. So Ragemus keeping Matt Psycho honest as it stands. 41.0 for Aloe. So Aloe is in the case of Matt Psycho too. Soft tyres being used by Aloe. He's already used his medium tyres too. The Punisher on the mediums. They're looking a bit worn out now. That double strategy on the mediums maybe not paying off for him. JJ Trim on mediums. It's Kaiser Grim just starting to fall back now on the mediums. He put them on early, possibly after his incident earlier in the race. Bunnies though leading for Jaguar Racing by Pizza, and it's 1.7 seconds between him and Ajax. It's Canadian 1-2, but then it's a British 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 before another Canadian in 8th. Oh, big slide there by Bunnies coming out of the Dev Chicane. You can see how hard he's pushing. He's got Ajax on his tail. They're matching each other very closely. In fact, they're coming to lap a car that will be Paul Shark in the Lamborghini. He's gone hards. He's kept them on, but he's got a bit of damage. Had a bit of a problem possibly. Brago B also went hard. So, very different to their teammates. Blood Raven in 12th. Debut in SNL altogether, let alone GTE. It's having a good race though with Rob on drums, the two North Americans. Just outside the top 10 as it stands. Compared to fellow North Americans, Bunnies and Ajax, the blue flag waving. He's using that tighter chicane, pushing as much as he can on those softs, but trying to keep them in play. Specmere is keeping them honest. He's still on the same straight as them, but 40.5, 41.7, and a 40.8. So lost a second to Slenderfella. On the last lap, Slenderfella going very wide, it seemed, into turn one, but able to keep the power on. Maybe that is the line he prefers. Going through that turn one, you can run wide. Ragemus now, his tyres starting to wear out. Matt Psycho has tyre whispered his way with these softs. He is pushing hard. We've seen this Lamborghini go a little bit further as well than its rivals on the fuel. Is he planning to do 15 laps on the softs? Feeling the pressure from Matt Psycho. The orange Aston Martin in 5th place, going up the hill. Through the S's they come. Driving well on his GTE debut. Up in 5th place. We've seen him get podiums in Formula X. He has the pace. The Lamborghini has the fresher tyres. Does Matt Psycho have a go into the chicane? He thought about it, but not close enough, I don't think. So Ragemus in 5th place. Matt Psycho keeping the pressure on board with the Lamborghini into the chicane. The sun's starting to set here in Croatia. Lamborghini making nice noises. Bunnies is starting to come up to the end of his stint, and the Hyundai with half a tank more fuel. So the Hyundai catching up to the Jaguar and keeping the pressure on. Bunny's fuel light is flashing. Did I get Bunny's last stop? He did stop on lap number 10. So it could be a lap number 20 stop for Bunny's again. So Bunny's trying his best to break the toe, but he's got Ajax right behind him. Two Canadians at the front of the grid, following each other through the S's, down towards the hairpin for the 20th time. Let's go on board with Ajax. Ahead of us is Bunny's in the Jaguar. You can see Ajax having a little bit more grip, able to put more energy through the tyres in the into the hairpin as they go towards the chicane. Bunny's running a little bit wide, a little bit deep into the second part. He's going to lose all his momentum. Will he stop on this lap then? As he puts himself onto the left hand side, he does pit on lap number 20. So in he comes. Speckmere puts himself into second place. Slenderfella in the background, also in on lap number 20. He has more fuel though than his teammate, so he could close up a little bit. Matt Psycho will jump himself up into third place now. That gap, 16.2 seconds. People will be thinking, why, Jam, are you talking about a gap? Well, we've seen Matt Psycho do this before, where he's brought race-winning cars from 20 seconds back sometimes. So, Ragemus in fourth place, Aloe in fifth. JJ Trim having a fight though with the Punisher. The Punisher puts himself up into sixth, but hits the curb. Will he manage to keep the position? He does. JJ Trim is in seventh. Will JJ have a go into the death chicane? Be a brave move. Not quite happening between the two. So the Punisher did a 44.2 on the previous lap, a 43.1. So JJ has been closing the gap up to the Punisher as the race has been progressing. Bunnies is out of pits in 8th place, 47 seconds behind Ajax. He's back on the soft tyres as well. He has got the hards to run during this race at some point, so he must be, I speculate, he must be doing the last 8 laps possibly. Same for Slenderfella too. Rob on drums, those medium tyres. He came in on lap number 13. So he did a long stint with those tyres. Same as his teammate Speckmere as well. They ran long. Speckmere 41.5 and a 42.2. So Speckmere closing the gap up to the race leader. What does Matt Psycho do? He's closing up at 40.3, so all of a sudden lapping 2.2 seconds quicker than the race leader. Into the pits comes the Punisher, the Aston Martin driver, in on lap number 21. So he is putting himself into soft tyres, I suspect, but we'll see towards the end of this race. The sun is setting here at Dragon Trail. Speckmere is closing the gap up. The fuel is less though in the Supra. So will the Supra stop a lap earlier than Ajax? Matt Psycho's fuel is very light. So Matt Psycho, in fact, will be stopping at the same time as Ajax. Interesting tactics once more from the former champion. Ragemus is in fourth, as he had a little bit of an off this lap. Number 20 was a 146.7, so definitely struggling maybe with the tyres now. The fuel light is flashing. A Lowy in 5th. I wonder what their aims are this season with some of these drivers. Are they aiming for podiums? Are they aiming for the first wins? Definitely on the cards. Anything can happen in these GTE races in SNL. So we'll see what happens. Ajax, though, leading the field. It's 3.5 seconds ahead of Specmere, so the gap is dropping. 2 lights on the side of the GT3 version of the Supra. Kind of wish all these GT3 cars had the light, the Le Mans lights for endurance racing. That would be fantastic to see, but they don't. Chris Boo will be sat here watching his driver, currently second, put the pressure on. Can he win this race? It is definitely on. Psycho, 10 seconds now is the gap. 40.3 for him on his last lap. So he's pulling away. It's a Lowy on lap number 23 in 4th place. He makes it. 5 cars in the top 5 are all different. Bunny's in the Jaguar. Makes it 5 cars out of 5. He's followed by Slenderfella very closely in terms of the race. 10 seconds, the gap between those two. Rob on drums, moving himself up into 7th place as the pit stops are happening. Ragimus now out of the pits. He's on the medium tyres. On lap number 23. JJ Trim has got the Punisher behind him. The Punisher on the soft tyres will be looking to make the move on the Supra. It's incredibly tight throughout the field. Really close racing all through it. Craig OB is in 11th, still on those hard tyres in the Lamborghini. He should be proud of himself with that strategy. Kaiser Grimm in 12th. He pitted and did not change his tyres on those mediums. And Bloodraven 13th, just made a stop. He's on the soft tyres now. Just got hard still to run. And Poolshark is in... Oh! Poolshark in 14th. That will scare Bunnies. No, it's Slenderfella following through. So there we go, the yellow flag's waving. That can happen. The driver in front of you can just lose it through the death chicane, and then your race can be over too. Ajax losing time though to Specmere. Specmere closing him in. We saw this in the first stint. 42.1 compared to a 41.3. So actually, Ajax, I say this all the time, I always make a statement and then I'm proved wrong by the lap times. What's Matt Psycho doing? A 41.4 for him. He's closing up. Not at all, actually. A 10th. Here a 10th there, but some slower laps. A 43.3 for Ajax on lap number 23 proved costly. The Specmere did 41.9, so some fluctuations in Ajax times, while Specmere is possibly being more consistent. Fuel lights starting to flash though on the Supra. That Psycho, his fuel not flashing yet, but soon will be. Victory Reign, his first time as a team boss watching this, the Raven Seneca, the Raven Seneca Lamborghini, currently in 3rd, 10 seconds away from the race lead with 13 laps to go after this one. The front of the field though, Ajax pulling away actually from Speckmere. Speckmere's fuel light still flashing. He'll be in this lap. 41.7 compared to a 41.1. So Ajax waking up a little bit to the pressure of Speckmere behind him. I wonder if he's aware that that Psycho is only 10.7 seconds behind, but 41.8 compared to the 41.1. Very, very close between them all. Aloe still in 4th place. He'll be stopping this lap though. Fuel light flashing for the orange Aston Martin. Bunny's in 5th. He's made his stop. He's done the fastest lap on lap number 24 of 39.4. Unlike Formula X, you do not get a point for that. But he goes for it. He's got the fastest lap. Pushing hard though, and he's hit the wall. So he's hit the wall through the depth chicane. Causing damage on that left front. His teammate not close enough to take advantage of it, but it will lose him time in the fight with Ajax. And puts him in trouble with Speckmere. Now Speckmere has really got very little fuel left. He'll be hoping to make it to the end of this lap. He's only got one more corner left. Ajax has got more fuel. Oh my word, Ajax is going for another lap. Well, there we go. Speckmere then into the pits. Well, Speckmere has got the hard tyres to run. And Matt Psycho is into the pits as well. So lap number 26 for those two. So what will they achieve? Let's go there. As always, his overalls are the same as his team. Aloe into the pits. He's got his overalls as well. The orange overalls are ready to go. In they go. Alright, okay. Thank you very much, Victory Rain. So he's just said it is, his team is Raven Senna Lamborghini. Thank you very much. Never heard of it, to be honest. So I just read until somebody corrects me. So thank you very much, Victory Rain. Raven Senna. It's easier to say as well, I must admit. There is Kaiser Grim just letting his teammate through. Earlier in the race they were 1-2. As the sun really is setting, it's getting darker and darker. Headlights on the Hyundai, but not on the Jaguar right now. So Slender Fella is 3rd, ahead of Speckmere. Speckmere now on the hard tyres, and a full tank of fuel for him. He's got Matt Psycho behind him. Not a full tank, but the Raven Senna Lamborghini has got the soft tyres on once more. 21 seconds now ahead of Aloe, as at the front of the field, also with matching gear, the Salt Rock Hyundai is in for Ajax. Fuel going in. Where will Bunnies feed out? So Bunnies pushing hard. He'll take the lead again, I'm sure. Ajax is still refueling. So Bunnies retakes the lead. Now, will Slenderfella also pass Ajax? Ajax coming out of the pits. Onto the medium tyres goes the Canadian. And Slenderfella just passes him. So Slenderfella will be doing a teammate role for Bunnies. Ajax driving well in his Hyundai. Speckmere though under all sorts of pressure from a Lamborghini. The Supra fighting, currently in 4th place. He's got a sleek looking Lamborghini behind him though. Oh, as we see Ragemus and Aloe. Ragemus just coming out of the pits ahead of Aloe. These Aston Martins 6th, 7th and 8th. Very closely matched. All three of them. Ragimus holding the position in 6th. 7th is Aloe. 8th is the Punisher. As Aloe overtakes Ragimus. So Ragimus on the medium tyres. He knows possibly that Aloe is on the softs as they go up the hill, helping each other out. There's 3 drivers all together right now. JJ Trim in 9th place. Craig OB in 10th. Still on those hard tyres. He'll be putting the softs on at some point, I'm sure. Kaiser Grim is 11th. Rob on Drum is in 12th. With Blood Raven in 13th place. Bullshark in 14th, still on those hard tyres. Bunny's though leading the race, 13 seconds ahead of his teammate Slenderfella, so it's a 1-2 right now for Racing Jaguar Racing by Pizza Pizza and Gasman. Slenderfella keeping Ajax behind him, after Ajax did the stop. It's interesting to see the headlights sort of coming on the Hyundai compared to the Jaguar, which is not running the headlights. It is definitely darker here in Croatia. The sun is setting, but nothing's happening. That Psycho currently stuck behind Spekmir with just 10 laps to go now, including the one they're on. So Matt Psycho currently in 5th. Spekmir defending a little bit, going into the hairpin. Feels the pressure. He's on the hard tyres. Matt Psycho is not. He's on softs. He's got the run, but he's got the worst opportunity, the worst position to overtake. He's on the outside going into the S's, and Spekmir will just show him the gravel. No, he doesn't even have to do that. Spekmir holds the position nicely in that Supra. So Supra in 4th place. Matt Psycho just behind in 5th. Aloe in 6th. These orange Aston Martin 6th, 7th and 8th. Incredibly close to each other. 9th is JJ Trim. 10th is Craig OB. Let's have a look with Spekmir and Matt Psycho as they go through the death chicane on the exit. Spekmir holding the position. The hard tyres holding up nicely. 142.5 for him. Whilst ahead, 40.7 for Ajax. He's just overtaken his teammate. He's got Slenderfella just ahead of him. Will be pitting. Yellow flag waving. Not for Bunnies though. The driver has had an off, it would seem. Possibly Pool Shark. Bunnies into the pits comes the Canadian. Slenderfella will be following his teammate in. They've done the 10 lap stints. That's what we've expected them to do. So that means Ajax will retake the lead in his Salt Rock Hyundai. So there he goes into turn 1. He finds a Lamborghini though. That is Pool Shark, I believe. Whoops. That's weird. How did that do that? It's not Pool Shark, in fact. It's Craig OB. It's Craig OB. Hopefully letting the driver by, who's in the lead of the race. And onto the inside goes Ajax, but he goes off the circuit. Ajax has got Craig OB ahead of him. Now he gets past. He's got Kaisergrim as well. He's having some problems with traffic. As it stands, Matt Psycho just 3.4 seconds behind, as Ajax has to fight with the traffic. Kaisergrim trying to hold 12 as Greg OB puts the pressure on. Now, will these two fighting cause difficulty for Matt Psycho? He's trying to catch Ajax. To the last lap, Ajax did a 1:43. Matt Psycho does a 1:40. Wow, 3 seconds taken out on that lap by Matt Psycho. But he's approaching the traffic in a similar position to where Ajax did. But there we go. So Craig OB lets his teammate through, does he? He's not holding off much. There we go. He's let his teammate through. So the Senna Lamborghinis. Oh, Matt Psycho though scraping the wall. He's pushing hard. Speckmere is in third. He's 18 seconds ahead of Bunnies. Lowy's in fifth. Ragemus sixth. Slenderfelder now is in seventh. JJ Trim is 8th, and 9th is the Punisher after his stop, so he's on the softs now. But it's the battle at the front. 3 seconds is the gap between Ajax and Matt Psycho. 43.7 on the previous lap for Ajax. Have a look, comparing 43.7 for Kaisergrim as well. Matt Psycho though in second, not close enough, but did his fastest lap as well, 40.1 in response to the traffic. So really pushing hard to catch Ajax down. These two had a great fight at Spa in Formula X in the final stages of that race. We've got 6 laps to go, including the one that Ajax goes on now. So he's pushing hard. He knows Matt Psycho. He knows how hard he pushes. Lamborghini driver. Pushing past. Now he's got past Kaisergrim. There's no car between him and Ajax. And there won't be any more. Ajax looked like he touched the wall going into the chicane. Maybe not, just maybe a little wobble. The light starting to fade, but it did look like he's lost a lot of time. Half a second down on his best lap. That Psycho starting to close the gap of 3 seconds again as they go through turn number 6. Let's have a look through the field then. Speckmere still there, only 7 seconds down in third place. So he is going to be on the podium, it would seem. Bunny's on the hard tyres now at the end of his stint of the race. He's got a Lowy behind him. A Lowy could put the pressure on and get 4th. So the orange Aston Martin against the Jaguar. Then we've got Regimus in 6th. Slenderfella in 7th. 8th place is JJ Trim. 9th is the Punisher. 10th is Rob on drums. Bloodraven is 11th. He'll be stopping soon. Kaisergrim in 12th. Greg OB very close to him. And Paul Shark just having one of those races that he'd like to forget. It's Ajax leading as it stands. 2.2 seconds, the gap between first and second place. A 41.2 for him on the last lap compared to a 40.6. 6/10 of a second between the top two. The sun really setting nicely. The helicopter shining as we go through the Death Chicane for the 34th time this evening. So Ajax pushing hard as the darkness descends here at Dragon Trail, Seaside. .2 seconds the gap. 6.7 Speckmere in that Supra. As I said before, mediums and hards on this Supra, and he's within 10 seconds of the race leader. So we can speculate that Speckmere will be in contention for races this season. Definitely with that car. Looking strong. Bunny's in 4th place in his Jaguar. But he's got an orange Aston Martin chasing him down. 42.0 for a Lowy on the last lap as he approaches turn number 12, the hairpin towards the end of the lap. Catching up. 42.0, 42.4 for Bunnies. Front of the field, the gap is 2 seconds. There are 4 laps left for Ajax to hold on, but Matt Psycho is pushing. He's done a 40.0 on his last lap. That was 0.5 of a second quicker than Ajax. He will be on him on the final lap, it would seem. So Ajax pushing as hard as he can. He sets his best first sector. Has to slow it down quite hard. Going into the hairpin, compromising his exit a little bit, but not too much. Same sort of time. Ragemus Prime is in the pits. Does he have to do a splash and dash at the end? Does look that way. Such a slow refuel rate. Does JJ Trim get past in the Supra? It doesn't look like he will, as Ragemus just comes out in 7th place still. So JJ Trim actually under pressure from the Punisher. The Punisher going for a move into the Death Chicane, as Mama Sykes says, love SNL. Well, Mama Sykes, that is SNL all over. 35 laps into this race, the Punisher makes a move on JJ Trim into the Death Chicane as the darkness descends on this circuit. Matt Psycho, 1.5 seconds now is the gap. Ajax losing 0.3 of a second on that last lap. 3 laps to go. The Hyundai leading against the Lamborghini, but the Lamborghini really making sure that the Hyundai knows he's there. The medium tyres are on Ajax's car. He pushes through the Death Chicane. Getting a good exit as he does so. 3 laps to go then for these two. This is the fight. Let's just have a look between. So the Punisher getting past JJ Trim. JJ Trim looks like he'll have to stop soon. Fuel light flashing for him. Miscalculation on the fuel possibly. For JJ, he's going to get overtaken by Rob on drums, most likely. It's Kaiser Grimm in 11th. He's still got Craig O.B. right behind him, but it's the fight at the front of the grid that we're looking at now. The focus for the last 2 laps, just over, is between Ajax and Matt Psycho. So Ajax leading in his Hyundai, Matt Psycho in second. Go on board with the Lamborghini through this tricky chicane at the end of the lap. The light really is fading. He can see his target. He's got 2 laps left. Will it work out for him? A 40.9 for him and a 40.8 for Ajax. Ajax matching the lap time of his rival. So they are pulling away now from Speckmere. The light really is fading away. Go on board with Speckmere as he goes through the tunnel just before the Death Chicane. So it seems to clear up a little bit, gets lighter towards the coast. Speckmere, though, negotiating this expertly. In third. But let's go to that front battle. Ajax 1.5 seconds ahead of Matt Psycho. A lap and a half to go for the Hyundai driver. It's got the driver who put it on pole. These two put it on the front row. It was Ajax around the outside of turn number 1 that showed that Matt Psycho had the hard tyres at the start of the race. Ajax on the softs put those to work to pull out a gap. He's now on the mediums and he's being chased down by the soft-clad Matt Psycho. Victory reign. What is it like watching a race you are not in control of? You fought against Matt Psycho on final laps. You've overtaken him on final laps. Now you have to cheer him on a final lap. It is very different for everybody involved. There's a Supra up ahead. That is JJ Trim, who's coming into the pits. Does it look like? No. He pulls across to the side, letting by the race leader. So there is a car now between Matt Psycho and his target on board with the Lamborghini. The gap is 1.9 seconds. The gap has opened up ever so slightly for Ajax. There's a car in front. They go through the chicane for the final time. Just don't want to make a mistake. And in fact, I think Ajax has made a mistake. Ajax has hit the wall. Ajax hit the wall on the final lap of the race. This is all going to go into the final few corners. Once again, here in SNL, we have a battle for the lead on the last lap for this spectacular first race of season number 9. Ajax leading. He made a mistake through the DAF chicane. He's got damage on the front of his car. It is now fixed, but it's meant Matt Psycho has gained over a second and a half on this lap. Already, all of a sudden, Ajax is under a lot of pressure. Turn number 12, the chicane, coming up ahead. Matt Psycho looking and seeing the Hyundai wobbling on the curb. He will have a look possibly into the chicane, but I don't think he's close enough. Ajax, though, struggling to get it stopped. Ajax, though, manages to negotiate the final chicane. The lights are blares as he goes towards the line. It's going to be win number 1 in GTE for Ajax in the Hyundai. He was pressured all the way by Matt Psycho, who's second. Third place is going to be Speckmere. What a race here in SNL once more. Speckmere in third in his Supra. He's happy with that. Fourth place. Oh, it's very close between Aloe and Bunnies. Bunnies all over the back of Aloe, but it looks like the Brit is going to hold on in his Aston Martin. So the Aston Martin in fourth. 5 cars in the top 5, all different cars. Bunny's happy with his 5th place. Slenderfella will finish in 6th. So 6th for him. Victory reign in the chat saying that was tense. Solid drive, Matt. Slenderfella in 6th then completes his race. 7th place is going to be Ragemus. He's going to have the Punisher behind him. So 3 Aston Martins in the top 8. And then we have Rob on drums taking 9th place. There are our finishers. Didn't get everybody in the end. It's very close. But the winner of round number 1 is Ajax for Salt Rock Hyundai. First win in Formula X in GTE for the Canadian. Great drive for him in the Hyundai. Second place for Matt Psycho, 7/10 of a second behind at the end. Speckmere in third, completing the podium in his Supra. Chris Boo will be happy with that already. Medium and hards, as I've said, taken and a third place. Aloe is 4th for Aston Martin. 5th place is Bunnies in the Jaguar. 6th place is Slenderfella, also in the Jaguar. So Jaguar Racing by Pizza Pizza will be very happy with that. 7th place is Ragemus Prime, and to complete the top 8, the 3rd Aston Martin for the orange Aston Martin OC team. In 9th place is Rob on drums in his Supra. In 10th, completing the top 10, making it 3 Supras in the top 10, is JJ Trim. In 11th place is Craig OB in the Lamborghini. In 12th is Kaiser Grim in the Hyundai, and in 13th place is Blood Raven in the Jaguar. In 14th place is Pool Shark in his Lamborghini. Mama Sykes in the chat saying, "What super racing, well done guys, great finish. Thanks, Jam." Thank you, Mama Sykes. Matt Psycho also in the chat saying, "Great race, great win, Ajax." That's race number 1. Who said SNL would be dull in GTE? Nobody ever. If you've ever watched us, you know what you're going to see. Great racing all the way through, 7/10 of a second between the top 2 in the end. Join us next week for Sardinia A Reverse. Who knows what we'll see? Hopefully some more racing just like tonight. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. I've not done that this evening. I've been very lax. It's been a while. Join us next week, though. Great racing. Fantastic.